So if I'm road biking, mountain biking, or running, chances are that I have these on right here. So these are the SHOKZ OpenRun Pros. So these are their latest and greatest when it comes to their bone conduction headphones that allow me to listen to podcasts or even any guilty pleasure playlist I may have while doing all the activities that I like to do while still being able to hear my surroundings. Super important while cycling, of course, where I can hear traffic, but it's also just really nice to be able to hear nature. And the reason I prefer these over traditional earbuds is that even with the best transparency mode out there, which at this point goes to the Apple AirPods Pro 2 second generations, transparency mode still doesn't work well when there's a lot of wind, where it can actually amplify wind noise since it's literally trying to pipe in sound using microphones. And that's where for the best situational awareness without any worries about wind noise, a completely open ear design along with bone conduction is one of the best options out there. But there is a limitation with bone conduction technology. So with this kind of technology, it uses these little pods that sit on the side of your temple and produce little vibrations which your ears then interpret as sound. It's a super cool technology and it does work really well, and with their OpenRun Pros, these are really the best sounding bone conduction headphones I've ever used. The limitation though is that there's really only so much bass and low end response that you can reproduce with bone conduction technology. Even though these do sound great for bone conduction headphones, they won't produce as much bass as what you can get out of a traditional headphone or earbud. And that's basically what these are all about right here. So these are the new OpenFit headphones, which bring the open ear design just like all their other headphones, but instead of being bone conduction, they went with more traditional drivers like a normal speaker to deliver sound that's much closer to what you find in more typical earbuds and headphones. Now, these new OpenFit earbuds aren't replacing the OpenRun Pros, where these offer an alternative depending on what you're looking for, and I think there's still reasons to choose one over the other. And in this video, I'll be going over all the new features of the OpenFits as well as comparing them to the OpenRun Pros, just so you can get an idea of which one of these is going to be right for you. So with these new OpenFit earbuds, these are now truly wireless, just like most typical earbuds nowadays, where there's no cord or wire connecting the two together. So you can wear both of them at one time, of course, but you also do have the convenience of wearing just one of them at a time if you'd like. And while I may just wear one earbud with typical earbuds just to have more situational awareness, I don't really ever feel the need with these or the OpenRun Pros for that matter, since they're just completely open. I can still hear everything around me, whether I'm at the office, the gym, or during sports, which is mainly what I'm focused on in this video. And they're also a lot smaller, of course, which means that they fit into a much smaller case than the OpenRun Pros. So with these, you can just toss these in the case and then toss this case in your pocket, which isn't really possible with the OpenRun Pros. And for the earbuds themselves, these are very comfortable, where they have this super soft silicone type material that covers the portion that sits on top of your ear, as well as the material that sits inside of your ear. And the ear hooks that go over the ear, these are really flexible with a 0.7 millimeter flexible memory wire that conforms around your ear for a secure but comfortable fit. The ear hooks that they use basically just have a nice balance of comfort and security, and I can wear these all day long without experiencing any ear fatigue. Now, one thing I should mention though is that let's say I were to crash on my mountain bike, there is a very slight chance that they could pop off. I think it's really unlikely. It would have to be like a really hard crash or something like that for that to happen, but that's where with the OpenRun Pros, I can't really imagine a situation where these would actually come off of my head, even while doing like somersaults or something like that. But still, I do trust these OpenFits staying on my ears for pretty much any activity that I do. So now let's talk about sound quality, which other than the true wireless design is one of the main differences between these and the OpenRun Pros. So with the OpenFits, they're using traditional drivers similar to what you'd find on typical earbuds and headphones. They're calling this air conduction versus bone conduction, but for all intents and purposes, these are truly speakers that sit in the auricle of your ear. And they really do deliver, where these offer a lot more on the low end with their 18 by 11 millimeter drivers, which is again something that's just kind of hard to achieve with bone conduction, but they also provide a lot more depth. So it feels like you're more surrounded by the music, and it's a bit more of a like 3D experience, I guess you could say. Now, being that these are an open ear design, it's not like it can deliver the extremely low end that you can get with a closed off design like an in-ear earbud or a closed off over the ear headphone. That's just kind of reality, but these kind of basically split the difference between a bone conduction headphone and a traditional earbud, where you're still getting all the great benefits of an open ear design, but you're getting sound quality that's more akin to a traditional earbud. So these should be just as crisp for highs and mids like a traditional earbud, or even the OpenRun Pros for that matter, but it has a lot more bass than the OpenRun Pros. It won't be like a super punchy bass that you can get out of a traditional earbud, but again, it kind of splits that difference. And these also can get quite loud if you'd like to. So with a pair of AirPods Pro 2s, I usually have to have those around 70 to 80% volume. With these, I only have to have these about 50 to 60% for the equivalent loudness. Now, if you do like your music really loud though, I find that they can get a little bit tinny, and you may also hear a bit of distortion on the low end at those really high volumes, but for my normal listening levels right around that 60% range, they are plenty loud and there's no distortion at that level. And they also do come with a customizable equalizer, by the way, that you can adjust using their SHOKZ smartphone app, where you have different default sound profiles to choose from, and you also can create a completely custom profile if you'd like. And for the music I typically like to listen to, which is more along the lines of electronica and rock, I either like the standard or bass boost profile. And if you're into bluegrass or singer-songwriter type music, these sound really good with those type of tracks. Now, since these OpenFits use more traditional drivers that actually emit sound, and the fact that these also have a truly open ear design, they had to consider something pretty important here, that they weren't actually transmitting sound outwards. I mean, the last thing I want is for someone to know that I may be jamming out to Britney Spears. So that's where they had to come up with a special design for their drivers where they direct sound inwards into your ear canal while isolating the sound that's projected outwards, which is what they call their direct pitch technology. And that basically means that they designed the speaker grill arrangement specifically to try to direct as much sound into your ear canal as possible while reducing the amount of sound directed out into space. And I think it works pretty well for the most part. They certainly do direct plenty of sound inwards, and at my normal listening levels around that 60% level or so, you have to be about 2 to 3 feet away from me to hear anything clearly that's coming from the earbuds. The sound isn't going to be completely isolated though, like you can expect from a typical earbud, but I think you could jam out pretty loud without bothering the people around you. And that's again where these will differ from the OpenRun Pros with their bone conduction technology, where these don't really transmit much sound at all outwards. It really needs to be touching a bone, as the name implies, to produce sound. And I guess that's actually a good segue to talk about calls, because these do have built-in microphones.
So this is what the microphone quality sounds like on the new SHOKZ OpenFit earbuds in a completely quiet room inside. And this is what the microphone quality sounds like when I'm walking around outside. It's quiet for the most part with a little bit of wind noise, and there's also a lawnmower in the background too. I'm not sure if you can hear that.
And I have to say that I thought these sounded really good. And with the calls that I actually made with them, the person that I was speaking to on the other end of the line thought they were really great as well. And to achieve this call quality, they used to have dual microphones, and they also use some software algorithms to cancel out outside sound. So your voice is going to be more clear. And I think whatever they're doing works pretty darn well here. And when it comes to water resistance, the earbuds themselves have an IP54 rating, which means that they'll be perfectly fine for basically any activity other than like swimming or showering with them. You'll still be able to go do super sweaty workouts and be perfectly fine. The OpenRun Pros, on the other hand, these have an IP55 rating, so these do have a higher water resistance rating. So with the OpenFits, these can withstand water being splashed against them from any direction, where with the OpenRun Pros, these are going to be more resistant to water actually being projected directly at them. So basically, with both of these, they should be perfectly fine under most circumstances, but with the OpenRun Pros, these would likely survive, let's say, accidentally going through the washing machine or something like that, where that's not necessarily the case with the OpenFits. And by the way, the IP54 rating is on the earbuds themselves and not the case itself. You don't want to get this wet. And then when it comes to battery life, these are rated to last up to 7 hours for the earbuds themselves, and then the case adds a few additional charges for a full 28 hours of playback when it's fully charged. And it also does have a quick charge feature where you can place the buds inside the case for like 5 minutes, which should get you enough juice for about an hour worth of playback. And the case, by the way, does charge with USB-C. The earbuds also do have touch controls on each earbud, so you can double tap either of them to play and pause or to answer or end a call. And then you can tap and hold to go to the next track on the right earbud or the previous track on the left earbud. And then you can also tap and hold to reject a call. And then you will also be able to customize the controls in the smartphone app. So with all that, are these going to be for you? Well, first off, just like the OpenRun Pros, these are going to be a great option for all of you out there who want an open ear headphone so you can still enjoy all your tunes while still being able to hear your surroundings. But the advantage with these over the OpenRun Pros is that the sound quality is going to be much closer to what you may expect from a normal earbud. So if you have a pair of OpenRun Pros but wanted a bit better sound quality, these are going to fit the bill. And they are also super comfortable, and a bit more comfortable than the OpenRun Pros, not only being that they're truly wireless, but also that super soft silicone that they use along with a nice flexible ear hook. With the OpenRun Pros, these are comfortable, but I do find a bit of fatigue after about 3 to 4 hours of using them. But with the OpenFits, I can wear these all day long. And they are also a lot more convenient since they're truly wireless, so they're a lot smaller and much more pocketable than the OpenRun Pros. So that begs the question, why would you want a pair of OpenRun Pros? Well, I think that comes down to a few things. So if you want the ultimate in security, these are the way to go. But again, it would take something really unfortunate like a mountain bike crash to dislodge these OpenFits. I trust these completely under normal circumstances for all the activities that I do. And the other two reasons could be a bit more water resistance, but I think this is more likely for situations like accidentally going through the washing machine. The OpenFits should be perfectly fine even for those sweaty of your workouts. Now, there's certainly absolutely still reasons for traditional earbuds, like actually wanting to drown out the sound around you, whether you're in a coffee shop, at the gym, in the office, or especially like on an airplane. That's really not the reason to get these. These are more for all those other situations where transparency mode doesn't cut it, because while it can be good on some of the best earbuds out there, transparency mode still doesn't work well in all situations, especially when there's wind, and that's where a truly open earbud like these exist. Anyhow, that's the new OpenFit earbuds from SHOKZ, and if you have any questions about these that I didn't cover in this video, feel free to drop a comment down in the comment section down below. And on your way down there, if you found the information in this video useful, do me a favor and quickly hit that like button, and also subscribe to the channel for plenty more sports tech videos that are coming soon. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.